we'll start with you. Hi.
I'm Cheryl. I've seen you at 2 different places in Renegade.
Okay.
And I've had a home reading.
Did I get, no Renegades, there was a lot of people there, but was they able to read for you or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came through. Wonderful. Okay. So I guess you shared with everybody your experience. So
Yeah.
keep it a surprise to me. Hi.
Hi, I'm Steven. I've not seen you before.
First time?
Yeah, first time here with my mom. She was here. She's seen you. So.
Taking care of that.
She's seen you, so I haven't.
First
time.
Okay. How are you all related here? Is she?
No, I'm related.
Just you two.
Just
Okay.
They work together.
You work together. Okay.
That's my mom.
Hi.
So I'm Miriam, I'm Steven's mom, and
Hi.
yes, I have seen you once before at Cheryl's house.
Okay.
I'm going to find her out.
That's gonna be hard.
I said, do you have a home party with me, Cheryl? How long ago was that ago?
No, she hasn't been with me yet.
Was it by
Almost a year.
Was it by a schoolhouse or? Is it yellow?
No.
Okay. Yellow homes also. Okay. Alright, but you saw me about, did you get a reading?
Yes,
Stuff?
I did.
Yeah, right. Wonderful. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. First time?
Yes.
Okay, well,
She's
welcome.
not blocking the thing.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lobrutto. I've never seen you.
First time also? Okay.
Diana, first time also.
First time also? Okay.
Amanda, I was at Cheryl home.
You're
Party,
Cheryl.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. And did everybody come through for you at the party? Alright, well, good. I see, so far so good. Everybody who see me had somebody come through. Hi.
I'm Linda. No, I haven't seen you before, but I was read by a psychic about 21 years ago.
21 years ago. Wow. I bet you're due now. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Carrie. I have not seen a medium nor you before. That's my mom.
Okay, so you two.
And my aunt and my cousin.
Okay, so Mandy's
So the
your.
4 of us,
So
yeah.
the 4 of you,
We're
right?
sisters.
Okay, and then you two are sisters.
Amanda's my daughter, and I'm her sister.
Okay, sisters. Mandy's your daughter.
And
Okay.
this is my daughter.
Alright.
See why she's not out with us?
Okay. Yeah.
You get out of here.
You go too. Go.
Hi. She's like, there's so many people here.
It's your turn, Lynn.
You forgot about me.
Nope.
I'm Lynn, and I've never seen you before.
First time. Okay. Alright, so we have mom and son. Alright, we have mother and daughter. And then mother and daughter here, right? And then you two are sisters. Correct. Okay, I got it. So if I would bring like parents, if you had them crossed over, I would put you two together and things like that. So that's how it would, because that's how it would all work. Alright, so, okay, and you're by yourself at the end. Alright, well let me give you a little idea on who I am and what I am about and what we're doing. So, you know, I'm okay. I just tune the dogs out.
Are you okay? Or you doing?
No, I'm fine.
She'll stop, I'm sure.
Yeah.
he wants them to-
And now this one wants my attention now. I'm talking to
He wants you to turn his shoulder.
And once you throw it, you're doomed. So don't even try.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall into that trap.
He wanna play with me.
So, well, I am Joseph Lobrutto III, psychic medium, divine healer, and I pretty much was raised here in South Florida. I was originally born in Long Island, New York, moved here when I was 10, and in the Palm Beach County area, and pretty much this is my home. South Florida is my home. People ask me if I was psychic all my life. I have to say it was on and off. And when I was a child, I used to see spirit, but I didn't know I was seeing spirit at the time. I thought they were just regular people that would visit me, and I can remember my father yelling at me to go to bed out there, who are you talking to? And, you know, I say, why don't you let these guys in the house and, you know, tell me? Eventually, when I was about 10 years old, my grandmother passed away in her sleep. And this is the first time I got to experience a funeral where I remember my father taking me up to the coffin and telling me this is our chance to say goodbye to Grandma. Well, the thing is, it was days later, as I was going into my bedroom, I saw Grandma again. And this time I realized I was seeing ghosts. And as a 10-year-old child, it scared me. So I slept with the lights on and my head underneath the covers for the longest time until I stopped seeing. So I had a regular childhood after that. Most people who Facebooked me, who knew me from school, said I knew you were psychic, and I said I didn't know either because I was dormant. It wasn't until later on in life, in my early 20s, when my ex-wife, she was a very metaphysical person, and she had a group like this come over where she had a psychic to do psychic readings. Like most men, I made an excuse not to be there. I made arrangements to go meet my brother to go bowling that night. But as I was heading out the door, the psychic was coming in. She looked at me, she grabbed my arm, she says, you're not going anywhere. I looked at my wife at the time, I said, you gotta be kidding me. They made me stay, and then when she was doing readings with people, she looked at me and she said I was a very gifted person, that I had this big aura like this, that I should be reading people, that I'm not doing my full potential. At that time, I was like 22, 23 years old, and I'm going, yeah, right, let's get this done, let's get this over with. Finally, she went home. I thought that was it. Well, a few weeks later, date night was, let's go to a psychic development class. So I went kicking and screaming again to this psychic development class, and I didn't want to go. I said, oh my God, here I'm going to meet people with crystal balls and turbans on their head, and because this is how I thought psychics would look, So when I got there, everybody was normal, and I eased. I stopped complaining. I stopped bitching, so to say, and we started doing what was called psychic games. And I noticed when we did something called psychometry, when we hold an object or of somebody's, we get an impression and we do a reading. Carol paired us off, and I had a woman's wedding ring. And I started to read her, and she was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you're so right, you're so right. She called her friend over. Her friend threw her ring at me. I started to read her. And then all of a sudden, the whole class was starting to come around, and Carol said, see, I told you so. So I started to get a spark of interest about, okay, well, maybe something is going on here, and about my abilities. So I remember telling my mom about this, and I didn't know this that day. I'm half Spanish, half Italian, and I was raised on the Italian side, but on the Spanish side, which I hardly knew anything about, I just found out I'm 8 generations back on psychics, mediums, and healers in my family. That I have uncles and cousins and great-grandparents who are just like me. So I didn't find out this later in life. And so I started to get an interest, I started learning, and I started progressing. To make a long story short here, it was when I became what was called a channel first, before I became a medium or a healer. Channeling is when you channel spirit guides. You go into a trance, and a guide will come through you. They help me write my book. They help me write Is There More to Life Than What We Know? It's 90% channeled, and after it was published, let me back up, before it was published, my cousin, Joe Lobrutto, is an Italian thing, named everybody after your granddad, but I had a cousin, Joey. He passed away at age 34 of a heart attack. I attended his funeral, but as I was coming home thinking of him, I was sitting at a red light. All of a sudden I heard his voice, and as I turned to the passenger side there, he was smiling at me. I thought I could have the road cars right there. He wanted me to talk to his wife, Mary Lou. He had 2 children at the time, but he wanted to, since I was a channel and spirit guides talk through me, he wanted to talk through me to his wife. I call it a whoopee. You know the movie Goose with Whoopi Goldberg, and how Patrick Swayze jumps into her? He wanted to do that with me. I thought I was losing it. I said, you're crazy. I said, give me something that I don't know about you, something that I can tell Mary Lou so we know it's you. What is a nickname? What is a nickname you called her? Well, the only thing he said, well, Cousin Joey, if you need to tell her something, just tell her cheese. That's all you need to say. She'll know it's me. Out of everything he could have called in the book, cheese, So it took me a little while to get the courage to go to her. And finally when I did, I said, listen, Mary Lou, I'm practicing channeling, I'm channeling these spirit guides, and I'm journalizing and writing everything. But after your husband's funeral, I saw him. He came to me as I was driving home. And I don't know if it's in my head. So I asked, what was the nickname that you called him? And the only thing he'd come up with, I said, was cheese. Does that mean anything? And then her eyes got really big as she ran out of the bedroom. And I went, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? But when she came out of the bedroom with these cards and letters, she started opening them up. And each one had the word cheese written on it. I looked at her and said, Mary Lou, what's all this about? And are we got one more person coming? Or did
Yeah.
Okay.
Heather was a little late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I'm so happy she's here.
Cool.
Hi, girl.
We'll pause on cheese.
Welcome.
That's okay. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
I'm just telling a story, so you can just jump in.
There. I'll make it. Sure. Oh, mine. Sure.
Did my assistant Stacy say this is the key to open me up?
Why did you see it? No, I remember at Cheryl's party.
Oh, that's how you remembered. Okay,
Fireball.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
right.
Fireball.
Oh, that's right. You're the fireball girl. Now I know you.
Hey.
I wonder why everybody got reads.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So my cousin Mary Lou, I went to her house, and I said, "Listen, I think your husband is trying to contact me, but I wasn't sure." I said, "I asked for a nickname. What did you call him? Called you?" The only thing he told me was cheese. At that time, her eyes got really big, and she left the room. And when she came back, she had a box full of letters and cards. She began to open them up, and each one had the word cheese on it. I said, Mary Lou, what was this about? What's cheese about? She looked at me and said, well, cousin Joey, it's a sexual thing between my husband and I, and you never know. But that opened the doors for me. I started seeing, feeling.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what does that mean? Sexual?
Yeah, I know.
Totally.
She still won't tell me. to
Did
this
you ask
day.
questions or you don't want to know?
She won't tell me. She won't tell me. So, I don't know. Unless we're embarrassing, that's what she won't tell me. But the thing is, that opened the doors for me. I would go to grocery stores. I would see spirit following people. My waitress will come up and be her mother behind her. And I didn't know how to shut this thing off. It was just driving me crazy. So I went to my old channel teacher, Marilyn, who was helping me become a channel, or a trance channel. And I asked her, I said, Marilyn, my mediumship abilities opened up. I can't leave the house. Every time I walk out where people live, there's spirits around them. How do I shut myself off? So we worked on something, and I call it the Beetlejuice method. You ever saw the movie Beetlejuice? I'm going to go Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice 3 times. All right, well, you're going to say your first names 3 times, and this is how you're going to open me up. Okay? Not now, but you're going to. Okay. All right, so that's how I worked on it. Since then, I started having, I started to have small groups come to my house. I remember 1 or 2 people to get readings. I was trying to hone up. This is like in 2008. They said, can we bring somebody? Sure. Can we bring somebody? Sure. One time I had 75 people come into my living room. I said, enough is enough. I had to stop this. I was in the production business, photography, video, and my readings were starting to overlap. So I was just doing too much. And I decided, let me put a website together and start doing readings part-time. So I put my website together. My book was published, the first edition. This is the 3rd and final edition. And a company called Medium Channel, they're based out of Germany, and what they do is they test mediums from around the world to see if they're legit or not. And they don't tell you that they're testing you. Well, I was being tested by this company I didn't know. I read for 2 of their employees already, and the 3rd person I read for was Paul, the owner. After I read him, he introduced himself. He said, Joseph, listen, 2 of my employees, he mentioned their names, already had readings with you this past couple weeks. They said I had to get a reading with you, and he says, you are the best in the nation I have ever had a reading from, and I want to put you on my top 10 list. So when I went on his top 10 list, my phone started reading like crazy. Shortly after that, I got an email from the Oprah show, and they asked me that they wanted me to participate on a show called Mediumship, Real or Not. So they asked me to have people who had private sessions with me write a letter addressed to Oprah so they can read it on the show. So if you go to my website today, you'll see there's a section there that says Oprah, and there's some letters addressed to Oprah, and that's what that's all about.
Nice.
NBC. NBC came after that.
Wait.
They did a little segment on me in Boca Raton, ABC to follow, and things are just starting to snowball. Let me just say, in 2013, 2014, I received an award naming me top psychic in South Florida, and I also made the top psychics in America for 2014. So that's where I'm at right now.
Congrats.
Nice, Blakey.
So I'm gonna back it up a little bit here. I'm gonna back it up by, I'm gonna pull something up here while I'm backing it up. I'm gonna pull this up a long time ago.
Anyone here read that?
It sounds like Morse code.
Good.
Yeah. In 2012, I went to take a trip to Brazil to meet a man called John of God. Anybody ever heard of John of God? Well, John of God, he's Brazilian. He's in his 70s, and he's an incredible healer. He's been healing for something like 50 years now, and millions of people flock to Brazil to see him. Thousands of people have been healed by him. You know, and Dr. Dwayne Dwyer, he was healed from cancer by John of God. An ex-girlfriend of mine had some illness, and she asked me to accompany her. And I thought, you know, I'm a channel like John of God is. I thought maybe I can enhance my abilities in channeling, or maybe my mediumship ability will enhance. So that was my purpose to go to Brazil in 2012. Well, when I met John of God, he told me to prepare myself because within 2 years I will be healing people as well. And I totally forgot about it till last year when I was teaching a class on connecting to your angels and spirit guides, where I put people under hypnosis. And then there's a woman there who was in a car accident. And she said, Joseph, I have a hard time sitting for the longest time. And, if I get up in the middle of your class, it's not you, it's because of my back. And I said, it's okay, if you need to leave, I understand. Well, when I put everybody under hypnosis, she went under. She was completely out of it through the whole thing. When everybody came to, we were talking, she was still under. And then finally she started coming to, and I said, boy, you must have went far away. And I was trying to find out if she connected with her angels or spirit guides. But she said, no, Joseph, it's weird. My back doesn't hurt. I have no pain anymore. She stood up on her chair, she touched her toes. She says, I have no pain. Then it dawned on me, John of God, about the healing. So I started putting circles together called Divine Energy Healing Circles. And since those circles, it started off, you know, I started healing people with back aches and muscle aches and car aches and stuff, but I never healed anybody with diseases. I had a woman there in her 30s, Natalie, stage 4 cancer. It was already in her breast. It went to her spine and anesthetized. Doctors, she's also an oncology nurse. She works with cancer patients, and they already said that she only had 2 months to live. She was pretty much lifeless when I saw her. I said, let's experiment. Why don't you come see me every week, every Wednesday, 4 p.m. This was October 2013 to December 2013. What do we have to lose? Since December 2013, she was cancer-free, and she's still cancer-free to today. I want to share this. This is the 5th person that's healed from cancer.
Hi, Joseph. This is Savannah. I came to one of your events in Vero Beach, and I had told you that I was diagnosed with stage 2 cervical cancer. And I just wanted to thank you so much for everything, and I'm really blessed to have met you. I really enjoyed meeting you and coming to your events. They really opened my eyes. And you know, it's given me a lot more faith, and I really appreciate it. I did want to let you know that I got another biopsy done to see how far the cancer was spread, and I got my results, and I got really good news back. And it turns out that I am cancer-free. There is no cancer. And honestly, I just
kind of wanted to share that with you all. And because I feel like this is where my life is going. You know, I've been credited as a medium and doing all this work. But now I have all these people coming to me with sicknesses. My assistant, you spoke to Stacy, had Crohn's disease for 6 years. She's completely Crohn's free for the first time in her life, and it's not even in her system. The doctors are baffled. This doesn't even show the signs of Crohn's or anything. I had something, cause of this, happened really remarkable for me. 2 months ago, I had a young woman at one of my healing and messages event. She was in an auto accident and had severe neck problems, pretty much for the 8 or 10 years that from that accident. And in that one session, she just said that I put my hand here, the masters healed through me, that she still has no pain from that one session. I also brought her father through from Russia, where she hasn't heard from him since she was a child. She was just so touched. Well, she owns an advertising agency, downtown advertising agency down in Fort Lauderdale. And they're going to invest $115,000 this year on me to bring me to the world, just from the healing and everything. So this was my blessing that I got from them. So I have a feeling this time next year, you're going to hear my name a lot.
We're not gonna build a book home or anything. It's gonna
Yeah.
be too big for us.
Yeah, the home parties will cease, because they're talking about getting hundreds to 200, 300, 400 out into
Like
the audience
stadiums.
members
Wow.
and stadiums. That's what they're working on doing. So, and
Yeah, right?
there's going to be a bunch of
Well,
merchandise
let me
too.
ask you, Joe, hundreds, I mean, how effective?
It's very
Like-
effective.
I mean, like, Caputo was just here at the.
Well, with the healing process, I had 150 people in the audience, and last month, I did an event, I did a massive healing.
Oh, okay, so
and-
you're talking healing, you're not talking.
Yeah, we'll be doing messages too. Yeah, I'm not going to be giving, there'll be 100 people, 200 people, I'll only read 12 or 20, so that's how it works. So, but it works that way anyway, because when I have 30 people at my events now, I can read 12 to 15 out of the 30, so it doesn't matter how big it is, I'm still going to read 12 to 15.
Right.
So, but a lot of people will hear messages that will sound, it's for them too, even though it went to another person, and it would pertain to them. So, but there is a lot of healing that happens on there, and either way. But I think they want me to do my massive healing on the group for healings of ailments, diseases, and stuff like that. So we're gonna have CDs come out with healing CDs and meditation CDs and all that they want us to produce. My book's gonna be an audio book. It's coming out in Spanish and also Kindle. So all this is all happening right now. So it's pretty cool.
There you go.
So, okay. So, why are we here today? What did I do with my blue sheet? Throw it away? Yeah. All right, I'll do it from memory. Today, we're here, messages from heaven, from the other side. It just shows evidence that our loved ones are still around us, that they're not away at a faraway place that they cannot hear us. I will bring evidential readings, meaning I'm an evidential medium, meaning that I will bring stuff that only you would know. For instance, if I bring somebody through, I may tell you how they died, their name, tell you about a piece of jewelry, describe it to you that they had given to you. That is an evidential medium, okay?